The Gina and Maddie podcast.
We are going to talk some money right now, talking HECS debts. Joining us on the line is Glen James from the This Is Money podcast. Over the weekend, the Albanese government announced that there's going to be a $3 billion relief package for those who have HECS debts or are about to go into some study and potentially get themselves into debt. I think the average Aussie HECS debt is somewhere around $26,000. So to get to the bottom of what this means for those who do have HECS debts here on the coast or have family that are struggling with HECS debts, because that seems to be the big thing, is Glen. Hi, Glen.
Hey, guys. How are you?
Well, thanks. Thanks for joining us.
No worries. Why are we talking about money so early?
I know. Absolutely. Well, this is the thing. We've got a budget, a federal budget in a couple of weeks. They are leaking a lot of stuff that's going to be appearing in that budget, spending quite a bit. We've got the RBA meeting today to discuss the cash rate. Let's talk HECS first. What does this package mean for anyone who has a HECS debt?
Yeah, so effectively, if you've had a HECS debt we'll start at the very basic.
Yep.
At the 1st of
Please
June every single year, there's an indexation rate that is applied to HECS or help loans. And that rate is basically the last 2 years' average worth of CPI figures. Now, over the last 10 years, it's been, 2%, 1.5, 1.9, 0.6, 3.9. And then last year, because of inflation, on the 1st of June, it was 7.1%. Which is savage, right?
Yeah.
Now, effectively, there has been some outcry about this, rightly so, if you've got a HECS or help loan, and the government have released the package, as you talked about, that what they're going to do now, instead of using the CPI average figures over the last 2 years on the 1st of June, what they will do is use the average of the lowest of the wage price index or the consumer price index, which means they're going to backdate from the 1st of June last year to 3.2 wage price index amount, because that's
Gotcha.
lower than the 7.1. Now, that will mean there will be a credit to all those who had an index help debt from 1 June last year. And it also means this year, on the 1st of June, when the help debt increases 4.7%, which is the rolling CPI, it will reduce to 4%, and you will get a credit as well.
So you don't actually get the cash, you get it taken off your debt.
Yes, and that's kind of been the other side of this coin. People are like, well, your cost of living, blah, 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 what are you doing? Like, it doesn't help me. You're not changing the repayment thresholds. So, sure, it will mean people's help debt would, in theory, be paid off faster, but we'll take what we can get, when they're giving out money if you've got help debt. But it really means if you do have, say, $25,000 help balance, you'll get $910 credited back for last year and $210 for this year. Now, I want to make it clear, if last year, after June 1 last year, you completely cleared all your help debt, you will effectively get that credited back to you as a tax refund.
Oh, nice.
Okay.
That's good.
And with this kind of spending, being a money man, with this kind of spending, we also saw some stuff with placement allowances as well. And then we've got the RBA meeting today. We know that inflation is what drives interest rates up.
Yep.
And what drives inflation is a lot of government spending. Does this mean that we might potentially, if they are throwing a lot of money at this budget, the current government, does that mean we could potentially then see some cash rate rises, which then flow on to interest rate rises throughout the year?
Yeah, well, I firstly want to say I'm more of a skeptic than I'm an economist. But to these announcements, particularly around the HECS and help debt and the paid placements, I actually think it is they are feel-good announcements that have been strategically said before next Tuesday night.
Yep.
And maybe it is a bit of a look over here.
Because we're going to cut
good stuff.
Because we're going to cut a whole bunch of stuff.
Yeah, there could be some stuff in the background. So I can't speak to the spiralling interest rates and inflation. I do because I am not an economist.
Yeah.
I'm a skeptic. But what I would say is inflation hasn't reduced as fast and as much as what they thought. And even a couple of months ago, they were talking about a potential interest rate decrease later this year. The Stage 3 tax tweak will be coming in on the 1st of June, and that's an effective, as good as one rate decrease. But now there is talk of a potential 1 or 2 rate increases at the end of this year.
All right. Well, we'll just have to keep our eye on it. Glenn, thank you so much for your time this morning. This is Money is the podcast. Go get it wherever you get your pods and have a good listen to Glenn because he does know what he's talking about. Thanks for your time this morning, buddy.
Thanks, friends. See you soon.
Bye.
Thanks, Glenn.
The Gina and Maddie Podcast.
For more great comedy shows like this, head to novapodcast.com.au.